So, soul contracts, soul ties, is there such a thing? And I'll just give you my little point of view on it and see it, it might help somebody out there. So, when you're doing an alchemy session, you really deep dive into what is happening for them and their situation at that time. So, we'll go back to the truth of the situation. A lot of experiences we have are, negative experiences because, you know, the perception of people around us, that little box they needed us to be in. But what happens in an alchemy session, you really see the truth of it. And what happens is, so we'll tap into the situation, and not all the time, but I may see like literally, it's literally like a written contract. Now, sometimes you clearly see what the contract is. There might be no name on it, there might be one name on it, there could be a few names on it. But I'm very intuitive, so I'll say to the person, okay, I want you to tap into what I'm seeing here and see what you can see from your point of view. So it could be anything. It could be a contract over land, it could be a contract over, an emotional situation. But I had to think about it and I thought, with every contract, there must be a benefit somewhere with the contract. And what I find now when I'm tapping into a situation, not only do I see a contract, but I also get a sentence, the carriers of. This person is a carrier of. And what do I mean by a carrier of? So this is where it gets really interesting, right? So for example, now this is just an example, I would never give people specific details. For example, if somebody comes in and they're a carrier of, say for example, grief, they will have had to, for them to be that carrier of grief, their payoff would they would have had to experience incredible love, because love is the opposite to grief. And that's what would have been, they would have needed that in this lifetime. So it's like, okay, for you to experience extreme love and whatever, you will be the carrier of grief. And my understanding is once you start to figure that out, and once you've been through it, and it'll be a tough road for somebody to go through. Once you've been through that, other people can say, okay, this person has been through it. And I think then we can shine the light for other people to come through on it. So everybody's different. And it's always, I find it fascinating when I hear the carrier of. And a lot of the times people will be physically carrying that weight in their body. Like it will literally translate to how their physical body is feeling. So recently I was thinking, and I hadn't thought to ask, and I thought, oh, I wonder like what I'm the carrier of. Am I a carrier of something? So anyway, I was hoping to say something lovely like, the carrier of light or something a little bit kind of upbeat. But anyway, no. So I was shown like the carrier of truth. And I thought, how fascinating is that? Because alchemy gives people the truth of the situation. And then I had another thought, and I thought, for me to be at the understanding now that it's the carrier of truth. And funny, my strapline is always the truth always comes out in the end. So for me to feel, you know, that was valid for me, and the truth is so important to me now. No interest in what's going on in other people's lives, but I like to know the truth of the situation. Don't care what the truth is, but I like to know the truth. I like to know the facts, and I like to know what's going on in a situation. I suppose too you can make good decisions and all of that, so fair enough. So I was thinking, for me to be a carrier of truth, my role, so if you double back, would have had to have been to experience the complete and utter opposite of that, like really deep deception, things being covered up, being kept in the fog, and all of that sort of thing. And I just find that so interesting. And I think once we get to the other end of understanding why we're here, we can be there and we can shine a light, and other people can think, okay, well, they've been through it. You can other people can coast off of, your sense of, it doesn't matter what life throws at you, you can come out the other end to be such a strong person that you can help people through what they're going through. So I always find that interesting. That is what alchemy does. It gives you the truth of the situation. And I think that's where my absolute complete passion lies. So I'm wondering, do you carry something? What do you think you're carrying? And if you're going through something like that, what would have had, have a little think, was there a payoff of that? Do you have a soul contract, soul ties, or whatever? So the more you learn about yourself, the more empowering that it is for you, the more you can clear, and the more you can come out the other end going, okay, get that now, that's fine. And then you can start to help other people. So I just find it very interesting. So Anyway, that's it. Somebody you might find that interesting today. So the contracts and chords, and are you a carrier of anything? Okay, have a fat day.